Hello, traders. It's 8:02 a.m. Chicago time on the 12th of August, 2021. It is Thursday. Derivatives trading is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Just a quick mic check. Let me know where we are today, since Windows is just wonderful at changing things as I use the mic for various things throughout the day. This is episode number 2050. We're again in a market that is just not giving up these all-time highs. Let's dive right into the CT pre-market summary sheet. Again, you have access to this directly by going to twitter.com/conv trading for convergent trading, conv trading, and following and adding an alert. And this way, you'll get this as soon as it's published at 8:50 a.m. Eastern U.S. time every day. So this morning, what do we have? Yet another mixed open. we've had these 4 days in a row so far. A mixed open coming in where basically on average the indices that we're tracking here are averaging about 0.1% or something positive. You can see the European markets are quite strong this morning. The DAX leading the pack, up 98 points, trading up 15,910 in real time. The S&P is relatively flat versus settlement, down 1.25 points. The Dow's up 31 points, and NASDAQ, again, the weakest of the bunch, as it has been for the last couple of sessions. The NASDAQ actually just moved away from the high it had put in and has pushed to the low end of the range just now. It's taking a little bounce, but overall the NASDAQ seeming weaker. It has been relatively weak to the S&P 500 for a couple of weeks now, if not longer. Crude oil is sitting sideways after popping higher on inventories yesterday. Gold is sitting sideways after trending up yesterday. And the treasuries are falling off this morning. Treasury futures are falling off this morning a little bit. The bonds are off 8 ticks, and the 10-year note is off 7 small ticks, 3.5 big ticks. The Bund is off 20 euro cents. We're seeing crypto pull back a little bit. Crypto's been had a really big drop over the last few months. It is now clawing its way back. The Bitcoin being above 41,000 is important. It's kind of breaking the downtrend that it once had over the last couple months. Same with Ether. And then the condition of the S&P is it has 112,000 contracts so far, with 62% of the overnight inventory short. 8.5 points. 8.5 points. That's it for the overnight session. Very, very quiet. We're waiting for PPI and initial claims this morning. Those came in, and the PPI came in slightly higher. That's producer inflation, came in slightly higher than expected. Initial claims came in slightly worse than expected. Initial jobless claims came in at 375,000. Actually, came in line with estimate. Apologize. So that takes care of the inflation front. Fed's Dale saying the Fed taper is likely to take place later in the year. China has warned that if the red line is crossed by anybody, that China's fighter jets will fly over Taiwan. So that conflict is somewhat heating up. Massive economic impact there. OPEC maintained its 2021 and 22 world oil demand growth forecast at unchanged, and the numbers for COVID are awful. This Delta variant is really impacting a good portion of the population at this point. So, and then on the calendar we have it's relatively clear now that PPI and initial claims are out of the way. We have a 30-year bond auction this afternoon. In terms of earnings, Baidu came in this morning. Palantir and Brookfield. We're looking for Walt Disney, Airbnb, and DoorDash after the close. And that's about it. Let's take a look at yesterday's expectations. This is yesterday's chart. The primary scenario is a push through the 44, 43 quarter, expecting it to top out and come back down to 30 with a slight turbulence here in this key zone of 38 to 41 and a quarter. Expected it to pull back to 30 and then bounce. Now notice that over the last few days, these scenarios have played out scenario 2 more often than 1. Yesterday, it played up scenario 1 almost to the tick. So let's, there's just very little in terms of rotations. This chart here is a 4-tick Renko chart. I use Renko bars because they only are created based on rotations. And so I don't want a bar just because time has passed. I'm not in the business of measuring time. I'm in the business of exploiting rotational characteristics of whatever it is that we're trading here. So we open up, we push to 44, 42 and a quarter. Yesterday we open up just 2 ticks below that. We pull back in and we consolidate in that 38-ish area. If you recall, that was the expected action, and then was looking for a push to 30 again. Yesterday's expectation was a push to 30. We went to 30 on the nose, but 30 yesterday was so beautifully tested. A lot of size went off at the 44, 30 even. I think like 3,800 contracts. And then we had a classic short squeeze there for a rotation up. And the expected rotation was to be back to around 37. And then from there, the market held up and went sideways. Somewhat of a P-shaped profile yesterday, accepting the point of control is accepted higher. You can see the point of control migrated down, down. Now it's stepping up, and now it's stepping up even more. Again, we're not walking away from these these high prices against all-time highs, and so despite what Delta is saying here, look at the Delta. We closed essentially where we opened, and the Delta is negative, but we're not giving up these prices. So overall, more of the same. Really boring summer trade. Really boring summer trade. Not much to price in. Here it is. If you look at yesterday's point of control, it's up here, and today's the overnight point of control is right on top of it. That is as acceptance as it gets. These are indications of accepted prices. Again, 30 remains important. 30, remember, 30, 22, 15. These are the important areas below. Above, we have some confluences that push us into 49.50, and then from there, 55.50, 59. And it's just another grindy day. There's really not much more to say other than that. There's just not much here to talk about in terms of the action. Let's take a quick look at, as we're reviewing, let's take a quick look at what's going on in the big picture on the daily RTH. Really not much more than a consolidation here. Actually, it goes down to 64.65 that we're breaking out of, and what are kind of doji, spinning top, whatever you want to call it, candlestick type formations, and it's just walking itself up towards the 44.50. The market's got fuel still on the buy side, although it's somewhat contested. But you can't argue with what the trend is saying here. So bringing back everything else here, the weekly's intact. The daily is now trending up again. The one-time framing on the daily, based on yesterday's action, is higher, and so that's where the breeze is blowing. If you're a sailor, you're going to want to hook in your sail in that direction. In other words, structured trades looking long, short-term trades, scalp trades looking short, or the short side is short-term, the long side is longer term or more structured. With that being said, let's take a look at what's expected for today so we can move on with the open. Okay, master levels, stock zones. There really isn't too much to say here, folks. Oh, there is something to say. Next Wednesday, I'm going to be hosting at Convergent Trading. We're going to be hosting Kelly Farrell of Diamond Capital Management. She is a fund manager, trades mainly S&P options, MES. This is a CTA, or commodity trading advisor. And the goal of this conversation is basically to bring her in to get a peek at what the OTF is doing. How does she manage putting on positions? How does she manage liquidity? How does she execute size in the market? How does she manage risk? So we're going to talk to her. I know it's not as sexy as bringing you on and talking about new setups or something like that, but it's really important to understand who we are competing against or who we're using to help our trades flow better. And speaking to a fund manager who's been doing this a long time would be very useful. You can register through ct.pro. Go to ct.pro/fund-manager. Please register as soon as you can. Even if you cannot attend, register so you can be sent the recording as soon as it's posted. Let's take a look at what we're expecting for today. So what do we have? We have yesterday's acceptance. We have this morning's balance profile. We've traded the bejesus out of 44.40. If you recall, 44.40 had a lot of size over the last 3 days. We took it out yesterday, and here we are, the point of control right at that size, or where that size was, and we are holding steady here at the point of control, the full session mid, and VWAP right on top of each other. We're opening in a noisy area. I'm expecting this to be a choppy open, relatively choppy open. I'm looking for this to make an attempt down early, consolidate, come back through, and I'm looking for just a choppy day that may grind upwards. It's anybody's guess what it does up here, but there's really not a huge catalyst going forward, and the configuration of the open here tells me that I need to stay off the mouse this morning and let things set up. This may mean that for the first hour, we're just going to watch it grind. There's going to be a lot of grinding going on here. So the secondary scenario is an open auction that squeezes higher, takes out the 44. I don't have anything really other than the 50, I don't have much up here. So we have the 50 up here, and we are likely to just grind our way into that 50 before we come off and consolidate in what is likely to be another quiet, yucky day. And so that's where today's action stands. It is likely to be a very, very quiet day today. So don't expect too much. Don't commit too much to any trade in this current environment. I'm going to put the link to that event in the chat on Twitter, and of course you can always find it. I just retweeted it on my feed. You can find the invitation on Convergent Trading's feed, again, at Conv Trading. In any case, not expecting too much here. We're opening in range, in value, on top of the point of control, on top of mid, on top of VWAP, and on top of the overnight point of control. So there's just a lot going on here at the same time. And so don't expect the market to run away from here very easily. This is a trap, as they say in Star Wars. Good luck, and I'll catch you tomorrow morning. Take care.